music.
There is no terrible way to win. There is only winning.
We won't be out long.
Take your time. Track's all yours.
You ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready. Hit it. Attaboy.
Let me drive. I will make a fool out of you.
I got a message for all of them. Shake and bake.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
That just happened.
These cars, you sit in a box, a coffin, gasoline all around you. It isn't like it being inside a bomb.
It's tough enough being a girl on the track. Living in my dad's shadow doesn't help much.
You have to be kind to the car. You feel the poor thing groaning underneath you.
No race was ever won in the first corner.
I'm gonna give you an engine, low to the ground, extra big oil pan will cut the wind from underneath you. That'll give you 30 to 40 more horsepower.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You do it because you're driven.
Brakes are warm. Tires are warm.
I'll work in the cars and I'll drive and I'll eat and sleep and I'll work in the cars and I'll drive.
Damn fast, and when he runs so close together, it requires fantastic concentration and rather special skills.
I was beginning to think I'd never be anything more than a piston-happy lead-foot punk. Then this starts to happen.
If you're going to push a piece of machinery to the limit and expect it to hold together, you have to have some sense of where that limit is.
Besides, the best drivers don't dwell on the future or the past. The best drivers focus only on the present.
They could never have imagined it, those pioneers who invented the automobile, that it would possess us like this in our imaginations, our dreams.
I'm gonna give you a fuel line that will hold an extra gallon of gas. I'm gonna shave half an inch off you and shape you like a bullet.
Somebody put it in your mind you gotta be perfect every time out or you're a failure. Well, forget that. Just forget it.
Racing is in my blood.
I was put on this earth to race cars.
I accept every time I get in my car. There's 20% chance I could die, and I can live with it, but not 1% more.
No, Nicky, don't bring the percentages into this. Don't be a pro. The minute you do that, you kill what's good about this. You kill the sport.
And at that speed, your reactions can barely keep up with these sudden changes in direction.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up?
You want me to work the pit and you drive? Fine, we'll try that.
The car's a living, breathing thing, and she's alive.
If any of us imagined, really imagined, what it would be like to go into a tree at 150 miles an hour, we would probably never get into the cars at all. None of us.
Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
I am just as good as anybody out there on that track, and I don't need anybody to win my races for me.
I wish my daddy were alive to see this, to feel this.
And when we get you primed, painted, and weighed, you'll be ready to go out on that racetrack. You hear me? You're gonna be perfect.
You don't understand what happens, do you? They make 10,000 cars, they make them exactly the same way, and one or two of them turn out to be something special. Nobody knows why.
When I won it was probably the last time I ever felt pure victory.
So it has always seemed to me that to do something very dangerous requires a certain absence of imagination.
Because I'm quicker than all of you.
Soon you will know what it is like to be defeated by the hands of somebody who is truly better than you.
The only thing to do here is to drive just as fast as you know how and hope your car doesn't break.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
If you ain't first, you're last. There's 40 other vultures out there who managed to finish the race on their tires. You see Darrell Waltrip using up his tires?
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
Oh, hell, isn't that what we're in this for? To stare death in the face and to cheat it? Come on, there's nobility in that. It's like being knights.
Sometimes you could swear the whole thing's falling to bits.
No pressure, nobody breathing down my back, just driving because I left it pure.
On the other hand, I suppose potential problems are in the back of your mind all the time.
So in many ways, I feel responsible for what happened. And
You were, but trust me, watching you win those races while I was fighting for my life, you were equally responsible for getting me back in the car.
You're so lucky. You sit there all closed in by machinery and bolts, precise things. There's hardly any room for you. It must be a nice, safe feeling.
You gotta learn to trust something. Might just as well be the seat of your pants.
A lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing is important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Well, we can drive. We can drive beyond the limits of the tires, the engine, the car, anything else.
look out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes, every gear change, every corner, perfect. You see it.
I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But it isn't just business, is it? What we do. It's passion, love, which is why we are prepared to risk our lives for it.
Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Win or lose, put up or shut up.
Why does everybody keep telling me what my problem is?
That you get so emotional.
You would never, ever say that to a guy.
If you don't leave your feelings off the track, you're never going to get what you want.
I'm a race driver, and I can win it on my own!
Please let me race.
Fine. Then let's race.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to a special edition of the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith, and today we are bringing you the first ever Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. We are set for 20 laps of frenetic action around the famous Macau circuit, made famous for its races in Formula 3 and GTs with high drama, high action and high risk, and we are set to bring all of that today to the Grand Prix World Series. It's going to be a fascinating event. There's going to be no points on offer for today. It is purely non-championship. It's all for a bit of fun to round off Season 3, what's been a fascinating and eventful season of the Grand Prix World Series. And who is going to be entered into today's Macau Grand Prix? Well, the top 13 teams across both leagues from Season 3 have qualified for today's race. The top of those teams being Fon-Metal, who will field the League 2 Drivers' Champion Marcus Ericsson alongside his season-long teammate Pascal Wehrlein. Mascar Loader will have Tatiana Calderon and Mick Schumacher, both race winners this season, entering into the team. Minardi and Tofix da Costa, he was banned from the season finale in Laguna Seca, but is able to return today for Macau, and he will be alongside Nick de Vries, one of the championship contenders alongside da Costa. Simtech will field the League 1 two-time Drivers' Champion Scott Dixon alongside Luke Browning. At Mana, Jose Maria Lopez finally took his first Grand Prix World Series victory at the last race in Laguna Seca, and he will be alongside Roman Grosjean in a bit of a shake-up to that driver lineup. Kamui Kobayashi picked up a back of the grid penalty for today's race, so Sam Hall tactically swapped him out and put Grosjean in his place to give himself the best opportunity to win today's event. Leighton House, Will Power, plenty of podiums, but no victories this season for the Season 2 League 2 champion. Sebastian Buemi did take a couple of wins of his own this season, and he will line up alongside Power for the Leighton House squad. Arrows has two-time race winner Pato Award alongside Daniel Cadea. Force India will field Jack Aitken alongside Raffaele Marcello, who took his and Force India's first series victory last time out in Laguna Seca. Pacific will have Brendan Hartley and Pietro Fittipaldi here today. Dome will have both of the Satos of Kimiya and Takuma Kimiya becoming a race winner at the Fuji Grand Prix earlier this season. Ram Racing, both of their drivers, Alan McNish and Gary Paffett, were disqualified from this race for various incidents last time out in Laguna Seca. So in their place, Ross McGregor is fielding Sebastian Loeb and Tommy Byrne, an interesting choice of lineup there, and we will see what their progress is in the 20 laps today. Zach Speed will have Oliver Roden and Sam Bird on board, and finally HRT, the last qualifying team, Alex Lynn and Nick Yellerly, two long-time teammates who will line up alongside each other once again today, but Alex Lynn will be starting from the back today, having picked up a back of the grid penalty from the last race. And ahead of today's race, all the power and reliability figures for all of the 13 teams and 26 cars have been equalised to put everyone on a level playing field where every driver has a chance of victory today, and it's going to be all-out, flat-out action to see who can take victory today, with no advantage of horsepower or reliability. Everyone has the same chance in this one, and it's going to be fascinating to see who is on pole position today. And that pole position has gone the way of Leighton House, Sebastian Buemi on pole position ahead of the Zach Speed of Oliver Rowland. Daniel Cadea, a multiple winner around Macau in real life, he will line up third in the Arrows ahead of our League 2 Drivers' Champion Marcus Ericsson in fourth. Will Powell be fifth in the second Leighton House, and Antonio da Costa sixth in the Lee Minardi. And one thing you might notice looking at timings there, that top six is within 3/4 of a tenth of each other. So close, having all of these power figures equalised. It means we've had a really close qualifying session, and any of those six drivers could be taking victory today unless chaos ensues. And it could be someone like Nick de Vries maybe going from 7th ahead of Pascal Wehrlein, Scott Dixon, a reigning champion, from 9th, or Sam Bird 10th in the Zaxby to round out the top 10 on the grid. 11th in the Force India is Jack Aitken ahead of our latest race winner Jose Maria Lopez in the Manor. Nick Yellerly 13th for HRT ahead of Luke Browning in 14th. Mick Schumacher will be disappointed with 15th in the NASCAR Lola ahead of Pato O'Ward in the Arrows. Raffaele Marcello 17th ahead of Brendan Hartley. Roman Grosjean on his return to Manor will be 19th, and Pietro Fittipaldi 20th in the Pacific. 21st will be the lead dome of Kimi Sato ahead of Tatiana Calderon, a race winner this season but down in 22nd on the grid for the Macau Grand Prix. She'll look to move as far forward as possible, maybe try and break into the top 10. Takuma Sato 23rd in the second dome, ahead of the 2 rounds of Sebastian Loeb and Tommy Byrne, and Alex Lynn with the aforementioned penalty will be lining up last. The only way is forward for the Englishman there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are set for 20 laps of action to round off Season 3 of the Grand Prix World Series, and we have Tom Cairns ready and waiting to take you through the action around this incredible circuit, and we hope that you enjoy this one. Tom Cairns, it's over to you.
The championship is wrapped up. The Grand Prix World Series is about to contest its first Macau Grand Prix race. The top 13 teams from last season are about to take to the grid and go racing for one last time in Season 3. The 5 lights are on, lights out, and away we go. Buemi gets off the grid seemingly well ahead of Roland, who's been jumped by the arrows of Danny Juncadella. We've also got the Fonmetal coming through as well by the looks of it, but it seems to have dropped back. Although Ericsson's up there in 3rd position as they come down the long straight towards the Lisboa corner, and it looks like Danny Juncadella is going in front of Sebastian Buemi, so Juncadella leads. Ericsson is through into 2nd place, but we're looking at Ericsson who dives to the inside of Juncadella, and he goes through into the lead as Ericsson into Lisboa. So Ericsson's in front as we watch Wehrlein come through. Pato O'Ward has been hit from behind. He's got rear wing damage. We'll have a look to see who ran into him. Might have been the Manor behind him, which will be Jose Maria Lopez, race winner in Laguna Seca, and it was Lopez that ran into O'Ward. So I can imagine Jose Maria Lopez will be the one being awarded the penalty. O'Ward is going to have to spend a whole lap without a rear wing, and that could cause problems to those behind. And it's Lopez has been penalised 30 seconds, and there's contact at the back. It looks like Lopez has had a coming together with someone. We'll find out who it is. Is it Nick Yellerly who's behind him in the HRT? It could well be. We'll have a look now as they come through the narrow parts of the racetrack of Macau. In fact, he came together with Pato O'Ward. He's taken O'Ward out. So I think Lopez will be disqualified from the race now because he's taken O'Ward completely out of it. Have a look from O'Ward's point of view. Did he do anything wrong here? This is a very he didn't do anything wrong in that situation, did O'Ward? I think he did the best he could. And Lopez will be excluded from the race result for that, unfortunately. So one of Topher Smith's cars is out, and one of Sam Hull's cars are effectively out of it as well. As you can see, yeah, that's completely Lopez at fault for that. So we've had drama on the first lap here of the inaugural Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix, and O'Ward retires after damage to his wagon. Marcus Ericsson in the lead then. We're just waiting for confirmation from the stewards in terms of the incident with Lopez and O'Ward. And Jose Maria Lopez has been disqualified from the race. And Sam Hull may contest that, but remember there are no championship points up for grabs. And race bans don't carry over into next season. They get wiped off after this race. So if any driver does take anyone out of this race, then it'll just be a disqualification from this event alone. We've just seen Sebastian Buemi dive into the inside of Daniel Juncadella, into the hairpin there, and it looks like Scott Dixon, the Grand Prix World Series champion, is out of the race as he's been hit from behind by the Zack speed of Sam Bird. And Dixon's race doesn't even last a lap. And because Bird ran into the back of Dixon at that corner, I would imagine that Sam Bird is going to be the one taking the disqualification, just as Lopez has just done. You can see drivers picking their way through the hairpin here, and Dixon has been craned away now, and you can see some drivers stuck behind him actually trying to get through. That's the difficulties of this circuit. And we are seeing Kamir Sato getting bunched up there towards the back of the pack. And Sunbird is disqualified from the race. And it looks like there's been a coming together between one of the Rams behind Kamir Sato. Now, Gary Paffer and Alan McNish were both excluded from the last race at Laguna Seca, hence why neither of them are competing in this one. Sebastian Loeb and Tommy Byrne are in their places. And the first lap has been completed. It's a long lap, over 6 kilometres long. Is this Gia circuit in Macau. You see a move there from one of the late houses making a move on what looks like Oliver Rowland being overtaken. It was Will Power getting ahead of the Zach Speeds, with Will Power up into 4th position. Ericsson leads by over a second from the Leighton House of Sebastian Buemi. He will be heading to Prost next season to race alongside Jean-Eric Verne. Marcus Ericsson will be staying on at Fonmatel, but at the time of recording, no confirmation as to who his teammate will be yet. Ewan Gale is the man in charge of that squad. Fonmatel can look back on what's been a magnificent season, a record number of points scored, 387 in total. Marcus Ericsson winning the Drivers' Championship in League 2, and Fonmatel, unsurprisingly, winning the Teams' Championship, and will be racing in League 1 next season. There's Ericsson making his way through the hairpin. That's where Scott Dixon was taken out. 2 drivers out of it so far. 24 still going. It's the top 13 scoring teams throughout Season 3. So you've got some from League 1 and others from League 2. And the new fastest lap has been posted by Ericsson at the end of lap 2. And for your information, the amount of brake horsepower and reliability are all equal between the cars. So the stats for each car in terms of brake horsepower and reliability are not the same as what it was at the season finale at Laguna Seca. It's a level playing field in this one. They make their way through the winding sections of the circuit. Not expecting any overtaking at this part of the course. And there's Jan Kandea, who can look back on what's been a relatively decent first full season of the Grand Prix World Series. We're hoping for better luck next time out and hope that Topher Smith can lead the squad to a title charge. See Takuma Sato holding up Sebastian Loeb in the battle for 23rd place. And ahead of Takuma is the HRT of Alex Lynn, who is not retained within John Munro's team. Now is Ericsson. Leads by 1.5 seconds. As we see Luke Browning going through the hairpin there. Ahead of the Mastercard Lola of Mick Schumacher. We're going to get a replay to find out whether he got hit from behind, because he didn't go through there at a usual sort of line there. Actually gets tapped by Mick Schumacher. I think that was accidental. And I don't think there's going to be any action taken on that one. So neither Alex Lynn or Nick Yellerly are retained at HRT next season. Scott McLaughlin and Alexander Sims will be in their places for Season 4. We're on lap 4 of the race. Anderson running away with it so far, Buemi not giving up. Daniel Kandea, unfortunately, is not going to be at Arrows next season. Topher Smith's cars are going to be taken by Felix Rosenqvist and Oliver Rowland. And So Pato O'Ward will be moving on as well. O'Ward is going to be joining Phil Kinch's Dams squad. He will be under the entity of Dams from next season. O'Ward's teammate at Dams. Colton Herter, who will be moving across from AGS, who will not be involved in the Grand Prix World Series next season after being relegated to League 2. And now we see a move from Antonio Felix da Costa diving to the inside of his teammate Nick de Vries. Now da Costa, who missed the last race after having to serve a race ban for taking out Naoki Yamamoto at the round before in San Carlos, which effectively handed Scott Dixon the title with a race to spare. Really is playing into the hands from Mattel at the moment. 8 times they've won this season, 5 with Ericsson and 3 with Verline. And I hope they'll be hoping to carry on that form next season, but it'll be very, very tough given how many quality teams are expected to be next season, with the likes of Minardi, who will go into it as the reigning teams champions, Simtech, Arrows, Leighton House, Mana, and potentially Prost. A lot of quality drivers involved in the grid next season, including those who won't have tested Formula 1 machinery, which was a criteria where if you had tested Formula 1 machinery, you would be eligible. Whereas next season, any driver that is not currently a full-time racer in Formula 1 or a Formula 1 race winner can compete. There's Buemi running in second place for Leighton House in his last drive for them. He didn't start the season, did Buemi. He came in initially in place of the suspended Will Power for a couple of rounds, but after his performances in Sentinel and Fuji, team boss Chris Taverny gave him the chance to be alongside Power when Power came back. Sunbird overtaking Jet Aiken, getting himself up into 9th position. Sunbird, who finished on the podium at the last race at Laguna Seca for Sax Speed. It wasn't enough to put them up to League 1, unfortunately. Sax Speed pretty much fell away in the second half of the season. Very, very long straight with a couple of kinks before the Lisboa corner. And we're looking at Daniel Gandea in the only Arrows left in the race. In 3rd position. You see Mick Schumacher making his way through past Jose Maria Lopez. Sunbird is the other driver to Lopez, who will be excluded from the race result for taking out another driver on circuit. He took out Scott Dixon on the first lap, as did Lopez with O'Ward. On lap 6, Ericsson's lead is 2.4 seconds, making this look easy. Gandea in 3rd place, ahead of Power. He's waiting in the wings, as is Oliver Rowland in 5th position. The 3 of them nose to tail, and we see Nick de Vries under threat from Sunbird. The gap between Ericsson and Buemi's come down a little bit in Sector 2. Ericsson crossing over the line, and the gap is relatively the same. Now, is Will Power close enough to have a go on Danny Youngandaya. I'm going to have a look to see whether he is close enough. There's Buemi. And it looks like Power's a bit too far back to challenge Youngandaya. Not really seeing that much overtaken at the moment. The field is beginning to spread out into their own battles, if you like. We're not expecting any pit stops in this one. It's pretty much a sprint from light to flag. In terms of the Season 4 calendar, we begin in South America at the Hikawa Pagua circuit, which will be one of 11 new venues for the Grand Prix World Series. Then it's off to Buenos Aires in Argentina, Indianapolis in the US, Toronto, Canada, Montjuic Park in Spain, Dijon-Bourgogne in France, Mugello in Italy, and Nürburgring in Germany for round 8, which will also be the venue for the mid-season test. The second half of the season begins in Istanbul, Turkey, Pärnu in Estonia, Anderstorp, Sweden, Zhuhai, China, Autopolis, Japan, Yeongam, South Korea, Sepang, Malaysia, and the 16th and final championship round of the season will be at Surfers Paradise, Australia. And after that we'll be doing the second edition of the Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. There's Tatiana Calderon running in 20th position. She can look back on Season 3 as a success. She was in the title fight until the last race when she was taken out by Jake Dennis at the first braking zone of the course. That shattered her slim chances of becoming champion. Had she stayed in the race, given what happened to Marcus Ericsson and Pascal Wehrlein, she could have walked away with the championship. This wasn't to be on that occasion. And it's then through on Kamiya Sato into 21st. But the Dome is not giving it up by any means. And now we're seeing the Ram coming through there, and this could get tasty here. And it very nearly ended in tears, but thankfully they got through there safe and sound. Lin ahead of the quadruplet. Back to Ericsson, who's continuing to pull away from Buemi, who's pulling away from Youngandaya continuously. Behind Power is Roland. He's running about 6/10 off. And then we've got a battle for 6th place between Wehrlein, De Costa, De Vries, Bird and Aiken. And we see a Marscod Layla pulling off to the side of the circuit. That's Mick Schumacher. The young German encountering a problem there. And he's the third driver to retire from the race. I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if it was a punch or whether he encountered some kind of electrical problem there. But Mick is not going any further. And this could cause problems. Oh, he got hit there by the Pacific. And Schumacher's race is over. What about the Pacific behind him? Well, that was Pietro Fittipaldi who ran into the back of Mick there. And Mick was in a very dangerous location. Marshals have moved him away now, but that's Schumacher's race over. He's one of those retained by their team managers. He'll be racing again for Marscod Layla next season. It's uncertain who his teammate will be as of what we know. Lap 9 of the race. Ericsson continuing to head out in front. And now we're seeing Calderon, who's looking to salvage something from the race for Marscod Layla. Came away pointless in Laguna Seca. They sealed promotion with 3 rounds to spare after Calderon's sensational performance at Buenos Aires. She was at the back of the field in the early stages before coming back to win out over the Von Mattels. Daya, Power and Roland, 3rd, 4th and 5th on circuit. Not do anything about Bohemian Ericsson at the moment. We see Bird, who's got DeFries in front of him and Aiken behind. Here's Marcus Ericsson. Going to be the first winner of the Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. As we come up to the halfway point now, making it look so easy. And now we look at Jochen Daya, who's running in P3 ahead of the Leighton House of Will Power. Behind Power is Oliver Rowland. There is Pascal Wehrlein coming through with the two Minardis giving chase. There's Jochen Daya ahead. Go for another podium. Now these stats will not add to the old-time stats as it is a non-championship race. Calderon making her way through past Tommy Byrne for 18th position. The next driver ahead of her is Pietro Fittipaldi in the Pacific. Now following Super Aguri's demise from the Grand Prix Series as they are folding, Pacific have been given a last minute reprieve and will be racing in League One along with Von Mattel, Mascot Layla and Force India. And team manager Kevin McMullen has decided to stick with Hartley and Fittipaldi, who substituted for Sergio Sette Camera for the last race at Laguna Seca. He's been given the chance to race full time alongside the Season 1 runner-up Brendan Hartley. There is Nick Yellowly in the HRT running in P11. Ten laps down, 10 laps to go. Ericsson's margin is 2.3 seconds over Sebastian Buemi. Got a 3-car battle for third. And what looks to be like a 6, 7, 8-car queue from Wehrlein in 6th to Brendan Hartley in 12th. Ericsson. What a season he has had. After sitting out Season 2 without a drive, he was very, very uncertain whether he'd be coming back, but Ewan Gale gave him the opportunity and he has made the most of it. Putting the car on pole at the opening round in Sepang, not scoring apart from the pole position point in the first couple of races. And then Senthal was the breakthrough moment that very much kick-started Von Mattel's push for promotion. They could not have wished for a better season than what they got. Ericsson coming through, making no mistakes so far. Sebastian Buemi, who had started the race on pole position, still in the lead. Ericsson began the race from 4th on the grid. It was into the lead going into the Lisboa section. On lap 12, Ericsson continuing out in front. Let us know who your tips for the title for next season are going to be, as there are a lot of debutants on board, particularly at Manor, who have got Shane van Gisbergen, a highly regarded driver in V8 supercars, racing alongside the League 1 Laguna Seca winner, Jose Maria Lopez. The likes of Felix Rosenquist, who will be making his debut for Arrows, Joseph Newgarden in the Leighton House. Scott Dixon will be moving on from the Simtech team to join Giacomo Pagliaro's Minardi squad. I mean, Scott Dixon is a two-time champion of the Grand Prix World Series. I mean, both of them with Scott Woodward's Simtech team. Ollie Berman has been confirmed as one of Simtech's drivers. Look at Sato, who is just going through the hairpin here. Takuma Sato, that is, just running in 23rd and last place. Ahead of Sato is the Ram of Sebastian Loeb. He's contesting his first race since Centre when he was dropped, and in fact he's coming in with a problem. Is the Frenchman. So the rally legend comes in, and I think his only hope now is to go back on circuit and try and go for a fast lap if he can. Ericsson leads ahead of Buemi with 8 laps to go. And it's Junkadea third, maintaining his position ahead of Power and Roland. And Pascal Verlaine's another 4 seconds back from the Zach speed in 6th position. Retirements so far. Pato Award, Scott Dixon and Mick Schumacher are the 3 that are out. Sam Bird and Jose Maria Lopez will be excluded from the race result for taking out drivers on the first lap. Lopez taking out O'Ward and Bird taking out Dixon. And Sebastian Loeb did rejoin the race. He's on his own at the back, so at least he has the chance of maybe going for a fast lap if he can get on with it. Ericsson's lead is 2.3 seconds, showing no sign of abating. Buemi doing his best to keep up with him, to put him under as much pressure as possible in these last remaining laps. I wonder what the gap is in sector 2, because it looks like Buemi's getting the gap down a little bit. We'll find out. He's got it down by a tenth. See Alex Lynn going for it on the dome there. That's very ambitious to do it at that part of the course. Alex Lynn is behind Tommy Byrne and Kamir Sato. And see Ericsson coming round again to complete his 14th lap. He's got 6 laps to go to wrap up what's been a memorable campaign for Hugh and Gale's team. You see Kamir Sato tussling again with Alex Lynn. There's Buemi. Right on board with him. Twice a race winner this season in Sentil and Kyalami. To go with his first race win that he had with BAR at the League 1 Imola Grand Prix in Season 2. He was part of the BAR squad that won the Team's Championship in Season 1, but he only did 6 of the races. Watch Marcus Ericsson continuing on. He's responding to the gap. It's 2.5 seconds between the Swede and the Swiss. Now we watch Junkindea, who's still got power, and Roland breathing him down. Lap by lap by lap. Corner by corner by corner. And there is Ericsson, and there is Buemi. Watch Will Power. Failed to pick up a win this season. The League 2 Drivers' Champion of Season 2. He finished in 2nd place at the last race at Laguna Seca. Fifth in the Drivers' Championship overall with 4 podium finishes. On lap 16 into the last quarter of the race now. Ericsson keeping his eye on the circuit as Aiken pulls off a nice overtake on Sam Bird, up into 9th position. Behind Sam Bird is the HRT of Nick Yellerly. Continue watching Ericsson. Concentrating on the road. Getting every turning in point correct. Getting his braking point correct as well. For every corner that he's going through. And now we look at Alex Lane, who's still stuck behind the dome of Kamiya Sato in the battle for 20th place. Ahead of those is the Ram of Tommy Byrne. Ahead of Byrne is Tatiana Calderon, who's going after Pietro Fittipaldi. There's not long left in the race now. We've only seen one mechanical retirement so far. That was with Mick Schumacher. And Lynn is still trying to make his way through past Kamiya Sato. Now he's dropped back again. He tried to pull off a move. That was never going to happen. It was never going to work. Watch the Leighton House of Sebastian Buemi once more. 2.6 seconds is the margin. Ericsson managing the gap very, very well. And we can see a Manor making his way through. Jose Maria Lopez on Luke Browning. And that's for 13th position, which would be hardly relevant, so he'll be excluded from the race result for taking out Pato Award. He ran into him to begin with, and then just completely took him off a few corners later. Causing a massive pile-up behind. Sebastian Buemi in 2nd place, 2.5 seconds is the margin between him and Ericsson. Daniel Kandaya in 3rd place in the Arrows. Down the hill they come. And I would say Sato losing it and losing his rear wing. Takuma Sato has lost his rear wing. He was not hit from behind by anyone. And he hasn't taken anyone off by spinning around the way he has done. He just carried a bit too much speed. The car began to slide around. The rear had stepped out. And so the Dome will need to head back into the pits for a new rear wing. At least that will promote Sebastian Loeb up a position. Sato, who is still ahead of Alex Lynn, who's still stuck behind Tommy Byrne. Kandaya in third position at the moment. For another podium to wrap up what's been an up and down season for him. He sat out a few races to give Adrian Quave-Hobbs a chance. In all honesty, I think Yakadea has been the better driver of the two. But who knows? We may see Quave-Hobbs repeating again near future. It will be 2 leagues again for season 4. And there'll be 4 new teams coming into the fray. They are Andretti, who are going to be managed by Alex Johnson, who was previously the Midland squad. They have now folded, have Midland from the Grand Prix World Series after their relegation. We've got Alex Johnson's managing the Prema squad, I should say. Andretti's been managed by a new manager for season 4. We'll come back to that a little bit, unless I can get up on my notes. By the way, we've got Andretti, Prema, and the other 2 teams I'm just going through at the moment are Tolman and Surtees. Tolman, who are going to be managed by Michael Gillespie, who was previously the Super Aguri squad. As I've already mentioned, they have folded from the Grand Prix World Series. And Surtees are going to be managed by Jake Sanson, previously the manager of the Andrea Moda squad. He's got an all-female driver lineup on his ranks in the hands of Jess Hawkins and Sarah Moore. And it's Linus O'Hall who'll be in charge of the Andretti squad. Alex Johnston in charge of the Prema team. It looks like the Prema team are going to be fielding a quality driver lineup for season 4. Will Power will be one of the drivers, and the other will be the Super Formula champion of 2021 and 2022, I believe, Tomoki Najiri. We'll look at Pietro Fittipaldi. He locks up. Marcus Ericsson's about to start the final lap of the race in the Fonmetal. And Takuma Sato rejoined behind Sebastian Loeb in 23rd place. As we look at Buemi, he'll stay in the fight until the end as he chases after Ericsson. Gadea third, Power fourth. It's Roland, Verline, DeCosta, DeFries, Aiken and Bird. And there's a problem for Will Power from 4th position. Roland goes through, Power is going to be out of the race on the last lap. Now, is he going to get off the track safely? Because there's the field coming through. Yeah, he's off at Lisboa. He's off in the runoff section there. And Will Power's season ends with a puncher. And that promotes Oliver Rowland up into 4th place, Verline 5th. It'll be DaCosta, De Vries, Aiken. And Bird's disqualification will allow Yellowly up to 9th and Hartley into 10th. Will Power will be classified in 23rd place. Here is Ericsson. 5 times a race winner this season. And he's going to add the Macau Grand Prix to that. Putting the icing on what is a very nice cake for Ewan Gale and for the team. And they'll head into season 4 with high hopes, high ambitions, and with a lot of confidence that they are going to build on a successful campaign. Marcus Ericsson exits the last corner and becomes the first winner of the Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. There is your race winner. It is the young Swede. And Sebastian Buemi's finished second. Daniel Gundea on fire as he crosses over the line ahead of Oliver Rowland. You couldn't have written that, could you? But at least he's got the car home to a podium finish. And I don't think Topher Smith will expect to have finished ahead of his father's car, Mike Smith. But yeah, there you go. That's the Grand Prix World Series for you. As Juncker will be pulling to the side. Pascal Wehrlein will be 5th for Von Mattel ahead of Antonio Felix da Costa. And we've got Nick De Vries, Jet Aiken, Sam Bird, who's crossed over the line in 9th, will be excluded. So Nick Yellowly and Brendan Hartley will be promoted up the order into the top 10. And then we've got Browning, Marciello, Grosjean, Fittipaldi, Calderon, Byrne, Kamiya Sato, Alex Lynn, Sebastian Loeb, and Takuma Sato. Will Power will be classified in 21st place, it will be, with Lopez being excluded from the race result for taking out Pato Award at the beginning. And we can see Sebastian Loeb finishing his first race for a long time. He'll be happy that the season is over for the Ram team, who will look to bounce back next season with a chance of promotion into League One. Takuma Sato, who'd been in the pits for a new rear wing, is going to cross over the line in what will be 20th position for him. But there is your race winner, Marcus Ericsson of the Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. In second position is Sebastian Buemi. Daniel Gundea in 3rd place despite being on fire as he crosses over the line ahead of Oliver Rowland in 4th. Pascal Wehrlein in 5th for Von Mattel, so he ends the season respectfully. Then it's Antonio Felix da Costa, Nick De Vries, Jet Aiken who is 8th ahead of Nick Yellowly 9th, and Brendan Hartley rounding out the top 10 for Pacific. Outside the top 10 we've got Luke Browning, Rafael Marciello in 12th, and it's Romain Grosjean finishing his last race for Manor in 13th, and it's Pietro Fittipaldi, Tatiana Calderon in 15th, it's uncertain where she will be next season, Alex Lynn, Tommy Byrne, Kamiya Sato, Sebastian Loeb, and Takuma Sato were all those that took the checker flag. Will Power classified in 21st place after stopping out on the last lap whilst he was in 4th position. Mick Schumacher, Scott Dixon and Pato Award did not finish. Sam Bird and Jose Maria Lopez both disqualified for taking out Dixon and Award on the opening lap of the race. Marcus Ericsson doesn't take any points for the fast lap, but he set the fast lap of the race anyway. The driver who started on pole position was Sebastian Buemi. Well, that is that. That's the inaugural Macau Grand Prix finish for the Grand Prix World Series, and the curtain comes down on what's been a compelling and fascinating season. The 3rd season of the Grand Prix World Series is finally over, and we look ahead to season 4, which shouldn't be too far away. And with the change of criteria in terms of who the team managers can choose for their driver allowance next season, do not mix it by any means, because it is expected to be one of the most enthralling championships in the series' history. I'll leave for Topher Smith to have his final word on what's been a brilliant campaign, and we'll see you next time out for the opening round of Season 4 in Hikawa Pagua.
Thank you very much, Tom. And a huge congratulations to Marcus Ericsson, who becomes the first ever winner of the Grand Prix World Series Macau Grand Prix. The League 2 Drivers' Champion rounds off his season in 5-style as he wins around the Macau circuit. And a huge congratulations to him and to the Formital team led by Ewan Gale. We now look ahead to Season 4, where it will be all change, as Tom has alluded to in commentary. There'll be a lot of driver changes. There'll be some new teams on the grid, some teams exiting the grid, unfortunately. But we are set for one of the most incredible seasons of the Grand Prix World Series in Season 4. New drivers coming on board due to the driver eligibility criteria being opened up, and it means that we could be set for one of the most promising grids of all time. We will tune into that in a few weeks' time, but until then, thank you very much for tuning into the Grand Prix World Series this season. It's been a pleasure to have you along for the ride. I've been Topher Smith, and we look forward to starting Season 4 with you in a few weeks' time. Until then, take care.